Hello and welcome, social media practitioners. This is David with special guest Brad Burke, here to talk about best practices in the post 2.0 web. Now, we are currently live on Blab, and that's it for right now. Usually we have 7 other ones we do around this time, but for now, we're sticking minimal because the other stuff's going on in my life right now, and so one is going to be one this week. And so I'm going to go over some brief feedback before I introduce our special guest. And that is from Jane the Hazelwood from SoundCloud. And it's a direct message. Your tracks are incredible. Have you tried increasing some downloads? These help to increase your audience. I am certain you can find it somewhere for cheap. Here's a promo I use. bit.ly/1JARGB0. Now, I don't know about you, but I'm really tempted to click that link just to see where it goes. So that's some feedback. And this is a joke, obviously. I get this kind of feedback all the time, as do lots of other content producers out there. And so I encourage you not to click the bit.ly link. If you have ever done that, I feel sorry for you. Anyway, I'd like to introduce our guest today on the show. Brad, thank you so much for being here. You have an awesome YouTube channel. I'm excited to talk YouTube and career life choices with you. How are you doing?
I'm doing pretty good. How about yourself?
Pretty good. So why don't you tell everyone that's listening a little bit about yourself and like what you've been doing lately?
So I am actually, I have a background in video production and animation, but I am an avid gamer. So, I went, after graduating college, I kind of went into the corporate scene, did a lot of animated videos and other kinds of things and video production projects. But really, what I found out, and the jobs that I had, they're fine. They're absolutely fine. But I think for myself, what I found out was that I need to be doing something else. I need to be doing not so much like in terms of the method, but like the topic. So I really, I was always passionate about like gaming and very nerdy things. I've always been a nerd at heart, and so I decided like to stop ignoring these feelings I've been having for a long time. I've always wanted to do YouTube. Way back when, me and my friends, we started a YouTube channel back in like 2006 or 2007. That died. Then we started another one when I was, midway through college, because now I had some video production experience. That died because I was the only one who could really commit to it. And then, I got a job, and then, as I was sitting at my job, I would see like people like uploading videos on YouTube and like doing really cool stuff. And I always be like just sitting there like, man, I wish I was doing that. I wish I wasn't in the middle of like all these cubicles making videos, which is fine. I mean, it's a like I said, I work for some great companies, but and then I just after 2 years after that point, because I started the channel, but then I couldn't update the content. I got about 3 videos out, and then it was like a year and a half break. But I decided that like I needed to just go for it. So I left, left my job to take on the world of like freelance, just self-employment. But also, the main focus of all of this is YouTube and some other things. Like I want to write a book and things like that.
Awesome.
So yeah, I mean that's a little bit of a long-winded response, but that's kind of encompasses from where I started to where I am today.
Your background, right. And what's funny is this podcast would not be here if I didn't write a book first. I actually wrote a book about Twitter, and then from there, I'm like, I should talk about it because talking is easier than writing.
Right.
So that's why I went from there. But that's cool. So what you mentioned that you had a YouTube channel back, like basically when it started in 2006. So what was the moment or what was the event that occurred that you're like, video making is my thing?
That happened back in high school. We, occasionally in high school, in certain classes like English class and things like that, you would have a paper that you would write, or you would read a book or something, and then you could turn your essay or whatever it is. But you could also do extra things. So like one of them was like produce a video or some kind of or draw a picture or something you would get bonus points for it. So me and my friends. We didn't know what we were doing, but we just grab a video camera and do really stupid stuff. And that's where it started. It all started because that was our first audience. Our first audience was our classmates. And I came from a very small school, graduating class of like 70, which I think is small. I don't know. I've heard rumors of people having much larger classes than that. But to me, it's like it blows my mind thinking that. But yeah, just the first audience was my classmates, and that's when we realized like we're really, really bad at this, but we really, really like doing it.
Nice, that's awesome.
So yeah, so we did a couple class projects that turned to like, let's make some funny YouTube stuff that isn't specific to any book or anything. That's when YouTube was first coming out. Was when I was just in high school. I was born in the '90s, so I'm still a young buck. But there was so much opportunity just to do like anything and just put online and see what people think. So we did like fake music videos and we did fake news shows and stuff like that. Really, really bad, but it was so much fun. It was just like hanging out with my friends would be like, hey, let's all go over to my friend's house on a Friday night and let's see if we can make a video by Saturday morning.
Very nice. I love that. And so I love the whole realization you had, like, oh, we're not very good at this, but it's sure a lot of fun to do.
Yeah.
And that's where you get to like, dedicate your time and then make it your mission to get good at it. And that gives you like a purpose. And that's always really fun because I graduated a university about last December or so. Mm. And I realized with more of a liberal arts sort of like degree, or if you're pursuing that, like what's so fun about it is the amount of ambiguity there is. And as a person, you can either say, well, I'm not very motivated. I don't really love anything in particular, so I don't really know what to do. Or you say, I can jump at this opportunity. Like I'm going to get a grade out of this, or I'm going to get a paycheck out of this, or whatever. Time to do what I want and have some fun with it. And so I think that's a really great aspect of video in particular is you do have so much freedom to do the kind of things that you want.
Oh yeah.
But you mentioned, right, like after high school or so, you mentioned that you worked at a few other companies doing video. What sort of video was it? Was it like corporate video? Was it advertising?
It was corporate. I mean, general like advertising stuff. The first place I started at was an ad agency. I joke about it, but like I pretty much did like manufacturing videos for like I swear like half a year straight. So I would go into like manufacturing plants and be strapped to like a vest and going above like molten like metal and all that stuff. It was really cool, but it was also like, oh my gosh, like this is kind of dangerous.
That went to really intense, really fast from high school videos to molten metal.
Oh yeah, but it's so cool because like I mean that was like my first. That's what I first I think appreciated the thing about video was like that's what I learned there was, I might not do this for a living. I might not do manufacturing or anything like that, but like you always get to step into someone else's shoes for the day when you're doing video. Like you get to learn about their life and like the people you meet. It's like you meet them on the same level as that they're on, and they're like really your guide. So even though like the context was like, oh my gosh, like giant metal arms coming and grabbing and like crushing things and like watching like liquid metal being poured into shapes, and then I remember I did a video specifically. It was like on steering columns, like how the steering columns for cars is manufactured. And I mean, it's a huge process, and it was literally like half the size of this plant just for producing these columns that went to cars. But yeah, like starting off, I did all these manufacturing videos. I did some other ones here and there. It was kind of all over the place. I also did. I helped out with I forget what it's called actually, because it's a league. It's called the Electrical League. It's they basically are a nonprofit. At least I think they're a nonprofit who basically is a hub for everything in the manufacturing and electrical space from where I live. That really got me immersed in a lot of different things, from email marketing to actually event planning, videos, graphic design, web design. Like that's. But also, I went to school for that stuff too. Like it's very, I cast a big net. So I would say my video and web is where my strengths lie, and that's what I started doing. But I think since then, after doing these videos and things like that, I've branched out over. Now I cast a really big net, so I do a ton of different things now.
Cool. And that's your freelance part. So, but obviously you started at a few places like that, but now you do freelance. So how did you do networking? Like how did you have basically clients?
Oh, I actually, I mean, I would say it's kind of luck based. And I hate saying that because like, everyone can say like, oh, it's luck based, but, I got to meet a lot. So I worked at a software company called Highland Software. I was their in-house videographer. And the cool part about that job was I got to work with everyone in the company on a one-on-one basis. From people in the quality assurance department to the actual developers to the CEO, CTO, CFO, like all these different people. I was their personal outlet. So if any of the C-levels or anyone higher up in the company wanted to release videos to customers, like I got to meet with them one-on-one, and that gave me a ton of connections. And eventually, some people, they hop around, they go to different businesses. So that someone who worked at Highland can hop to a different business, and they remember the work that I did for them. And then they usually, this happens decently often, I get pinged for that specific person saying, "Hey, I know you did. We worked together on this project at Highland. I really liked it. I need help with this. I need help with web design. I'm launching a new brand, or like all these different things." So it actually, the jobs that I held were the ones that actually got my name out there, and in terms of like networking and things like that.
Wow, and that's why do you think that is? Like, are really good videographers just hard to come by? So when you have a good one, it's like you want to hold on to them. Like, why do you think that works so well?
I don't think it actually. The skill doesn't matter. It's the person. Like, I think if you're a reliable person and you can work very well with someone, whether I was a web designer or if I just did email, like I think it would have been the same outcome. When you meet people who you truly can interact with well, and you guys, get to work together towards the goal faster, I think it's a no-brainer when they want to pull you on for a new project. Plus, if you're a new company starting off and you're just trying to get bids on things, and like, so if you need videos or things like that, you'd rather probably go with someone that and have worked with before, and you know what you're going to get out of it, than try to go with someone new, regardless if they have awesome work. It's more of a gamble.
Yeah.
Whereas if I made something awesome for them before, they're probably gonna come back to me for more work, and that's typically how it works. I've had a client. It's a cloud services brokerage, and it's kind of interesting because I met him on a whim. It was through someone else who was writing a book, and I was doing some artwork for it. But that led to the artwork for the book, to the photography for his new author photo and anything else he needed.
Wow.
2 websites: a website for the book, his new corporate website for his company, and then the new books. It's a series of books. So it's like that, but that same formula is pretty much apparent in kind of any relationship. And if you have a very wide skill set and you're actually good at all the things that you do, if you take the time to learn them and be the best that you can in them, typically you become a one-stop marketing shop for any of these people. So you get a gig with photography, and it leads to 5 or 6 different things. And I see that happening pretty much all the time. So I think it's good it's good to understand every aspect of it.
That's really neat. So you're also artistic too. So you do design too.
Yeah. So it's interesting. Because when I was younger, I always wanted to I always like drawing and things like that. I'm actually more technical than I am artistic, which I think is interesting, because if I had to have chose, it would have been the opposite way. I have a knack for web design and things like that. It just comes to me. I love looking at code and things like that, which I never would have thought would have been me. I thought I'd be the guy with paintbrushes and making landscapes and stuff, but I guess not. I don't know. It's what I end up liking.
Huh, that's so interesting. Yeah, I drawing was my favorite thing as a little kid. My number one hobby was to just draw. And a large thing, which we'll probably get into in a bit, is I love drawing video game characters and creating my own video games. And it's funny, I can tell we're born around the same time. So we had a lot of the same early influences as far as gaming goes, which is really cool. We'll get into that into a bit, but I want to ask you sort of a controversial question. Mm-hmm. How is it, or how are you going to know if this freelance stuff you're doing on YouTube is going to be a sustainable thing that is going to keep you paying rent and all that?
It's actually, I'll be honest. It's for me, in some regards, it's not about the money, but also I think I have a pretty big client base, more than I ever expected I would. It's really interesting because going into this whole freelance thing, I was like, this is going to be a gamble. This is going to last 6 months. And in the 6 months, I need to do these X amount of videos, and And then I'm also writing a book. So I was like, I want to have this be this far in the book. And, 6 months turns to a year, and then it's like a year and a half. And honestly, it makes me think, and just might be my specific case, is like, why did I ever work for a company before? It makes no sense. Because there was so many different opportunities. Just having your day free, like the flexibility to collaborate with multiple people at once, whether even it's not even freelance stuff. Like I work with a lot of other projects, like software development, things like that, which you would never tell through my silly YouTube videos.
Right.
But it's like there's a whole system in place in terms of where I spend my time and where I invest my my resources and things like that. Because like I want to do so many different things. Like I want to do YouTube. I want to write a book. I want to be involved with these upcoming software applications. Like I help out with this really cool green screen application that I think is going to change a lot of things.
Really?
Basically, just like it keys out your background. Like it's kind of like if you ever watch Twitch, people.
Oh yeah, I know
what
you're talking about. Green screen is incredible.
But it's like to the next level where you can pretty much do it with almost any background. It's pretty intense. Yeah, it's like it's rewritten. Basically, from ground zero, they rewrote the green screen algorithm and how it works. So it detects mass and kind of like latches onto it. It's awesome. And there's going to be, I think, a lot of cool applications coming out with that, especially the e-card space. Because if you think about e-cards, they haven't moved or nothing has happened with them in the past like 10 years. It's always been like, you send someone a jib jab card or like a happy birthday card. But one of the software applications I work with like allows you to put yourself in the card. You don't need like a studio or a fancy camera or anything. So it's all done in the cloud too. So it's like you don't have to even have the computer. You don't have the computer resources to do it. It's just like it basically streams it. It does all the crunching on a server, and then it just streams it back. But
that's wild.
Yeah, it's like there's this. That's the thing is like even though like I feel like I'm a focused person, like I can't stay focused on one thing because there's so many cool things going on. And like you look online, there's so many people are doing so many different things. Like you see all these cool Kickstarter inventions. Like I just saw like the other day, like someone had a new weight bench where like it prevents you from like killing yourself by dropping the weight on yourself. Because like if you have, like if you're benching, and this is obviously a complete tangent, but like but I just get fired up about this stuff. Yeah, it's like so if you're benching or whatever, and like you can't finish your rep, typically you have to drop your rack. Or you have to try to get on hooks or something. Well, if no one's there to spot you, you're probably going to hurt yourself. Those weights probably going to crush your neck or like something. But it's this cool weight bench where you can actually like, as a foot pedal, and like the seat decompresses and drops you down so that the bars fall into like this holder. It's just like, and that's just one thing. There's so many different cool things. So like, that also prevents me from going back to like a corporate environment because. I think now that I've got a taste of what it's like, being outside of it again, it would just squash my excitement. There's too much politics and, corporate ladder stuff where like you need to like get this person's decision and then they have a decision above yours and like all these different things. It's like, it's so frustrating and like even stressful to some degree. But no, I think kind of circling back to what you're saying, I do feel this is going to be sustainable because it's been amazing so far, and that's not anything I ever expected.
Right,
and it just keeps getting better and better because like that network just keeps growing and growing.
Well, congratulations! That's really exciting. I didn't realize because you wouldn't necessarily guess that. Because if you just go, I just know that you went to YouTube and freelance stuff, and I think about that, and I do think about lots of people that try that. Mm-hmm. And it just crashes and burns for one reason or another. So to hear that it's working out for you is really, really exciting. And I guess if you are sort of a what's the phrase, like you're a one-stop shop for lots of things that people need. That's sustainable.
It helps. It helps. Like it's like you could either be a fisherman with a small net and catch one specific type of thing, or you could have a really, really big net and catch all these different types of things. Not that that's not good. I don't know if it's a good analogy. That kind of makes me feel bad. Like in terms of like, I think about it and like how like like catching dolphins and stuff like that. I'm like, oh my gosh, that's a bad analogy. Anyways,
all the animal rights activists are going to get on you about this.
I know. You'll see me in the news tomorrow.
Oh my gosh. So and then so you have I don't know whether to call it a new channel or not. It seems like a revamped channel, SwankyBox, right?
Yeah.
Okay. And the subject matter is about video games. And then I saw you in another interview and you talked about nostalgia and like gaming. And so what had you settle on that subject matter for your videos? Because there's, like you said, there's so much out there. There's so many channels. There's a lot of gaming specific channels. And so what encouraged you to, and what subject matter did you decide on and why? I
decided on nostalgic video game stuff, pertinent to my childhood, is because it comes naturally. Like, it's like, people always say, you write what you know. So if like, I'm not going to go out and write like a crime investigation novel because I know nothing about how that works. Like, it's like, oh, I watched Gotham and I watched all these different shows. Like, that doesn't matter. Like, why would I try to go out and try to be something that I'm not when I can just, speak from the heart? Like, I can talk all day about, Zelda for the Nintendo 64, Super Mario 64. Like, that stuff was my jam. It still is. And like, I remember just spending so much time in all these different games. So, when I was younger, I didn't have any, it was just me and my brothers. We moved out into the boonies at an early age, and like the nearest house was like a mile away. And they didn't have kids, so it's like we just had each other. So like, games became our way of getting out into the world and exploring things that we couldn't actually go and do ourselves. So I have very fond memories of all that stuff. And that, when I was thinking about, because I originally, my channel, I wanted to do like comedy skits and things like that. I was heavily inspired by Devin Supertramp. He does a lot of action oriented things and skills and kind of cool like jumping videos and things like that. Like, you might have seen like the giant rope swing through the canyon, or like the people jumping out of hot air balloons, like very like Red Bullish kind of stuff. But like, it all required more people, and it required stuff I couldn't do when I was at a job to begin with. So like, that crushed that dream. But like, my biggest thing has always been, the issue I always had is I'm always, gung ho about it. But like, if no one else is, like, it comes down to me. So like, why not just, retract all that back to just me? Like, why don't I just make everything? Why don't I just do something that I can own completely, that I can speak, my mind, in terms of like the stuff that I actually know, that I'm not trying to fool people with the things that I don't know. And really just, talk about what I love, like talk about this stuff and why it was important to me as a kid and how it shaped me. Video games actually helped shape who I am today. And I think they do that for a lot of people. And I think that's why people like my videos so much. And like, I am a small channel. I'm at just about, I think, like 600 subscribers, but I only started producing videos in January. So like, just one of the other things I also do is I'm a YouTube consultant for a couple of different businesses. And if anyone, in the chat who's watching this knows about YouTube, is like, in terms of, growing subscribers and raising, it's very similar to like, the jump from 1 to 5,000 is like the hike from like 1 million to 2 million. It's like, it's all exponential. You have more people sharing, which means you're going to get more views, and then eventually those are going to convert into subscribers. When you have a small user base, it's even, that effect is smaller, so it takes longer to get to anywhere substantial. So for me, 600 subscribers is like, I'm ecstatic. Like, it's awesome. And knowing that like some of the videos I produce, like, 30,000 people have watched them, like, that blows my mind. Like, it doesn't, you see videos that have millions and millions of views. That's awesome. But like, I think we often forget that those are all people. Like, have you ever been in a room with 30,000 people?
Yeah.
It's insane. Like, it's like, the biggest room I've been in, it's probably has like, 5,000 for some speeches I've been to and things like that. And it's just like, it's like a sea of people. Times that by 6. That many people thought my video on Mario and Link was
worth watching.
Was worth watching. And it's super crazy. And then I did a Reddit post. My friend had this really, is a kind of a creepy van on the outside, but it's a really awesome van where he has, it's like one of those Astro vans or something, where he has like a Nintendo 64 on the inside. And, I just like, it's like, we should do a video on this. I'm like, I would love to. And I'm very thankful that he gave me the opportunity to film his van before anyone else. But, made a series of images on Imager, and then posted a link to the video at the end. And, that alone got 1.3 million views on the images. And, asking people to go do a video after that, you don't get as many people to do that, but I still got about 30,000 views out of that.
Yeah.
Which is awesome. And that's I'm still waiting to see what blogs pick it up. Because that's also another thing is blogs, they're looking for free content because they can make money off of your videos, and it's a win-win-win for everyone.
Mm-hmm. That's how I discovered your video where you said Mario and Link, where they switched games. Yeah. I found it on Zelda Informer, which you probably were delighted when you found your video featured on Zelda Informer, right? Yeah, but that's also the other thing is a lot of people that make YouTube videos, and I actually had a chat with this. I'm in a group of YouTubers, and we actually had a talk on Saturday about this. It's kind of like making your own luck. You can make videos, put them out there, and let people find them. You could do that, or you can send it to the writers who write these blogs and help them, because they're people, and that's their job is to write. Help them, make their job easier for them. Hey, I just made this cool video. I've been following you on Zelda Informer. Please check this out. I think you'll really enjoy it. And because I'm sure they spend 2 or 3 hours of their day just looking for stuff to write on. So they can wake up in the morning and have an awesome video that's sent exclusively to them. They already have their first post for the day. So not only are you getting your stuff out there, but you're saving someone a ton of work. There you go.
So that's why I empower people to do that too, because everyone on the internet is a person. So if you treat them like other people, typically it'll be good for you. Just treat everyone like they deserve to be treated, and also just be kind and be courteous and show that you care. Obviously, I love reading all their articles. I check their stuff out all the time. So it's hey, I want to reach out to this person. They're pretty cool. And I think they're going to like the stuff that I make.
That's great. Yeah. So that kind of goes into the next question is one of the first things people talk about where they're YouTubers is how do you respond to the negativity and the people that say bad things? So what's some advice you can share about that?
There's going to be a lot of haters. It's fine. The thing is, everyone is entitled to their own opinion. If they don't like my stuff, that's perfectly fine. I want to talk to them about it. Hey, what don't you like about it? If they want to insult me, well, that's on them. That's not me. It doesn't affect me. I actually think it's funny. When people post negative stuff in my videos, I leave it up there. I don't delete it, because the people that like my video, if they want to get salty with them, they'll defend me. I don't have to say anything. Mm-hmm. I like to say things. I'm curious of why they don't like it. Mm-hmm. It's really funny, some of the arguments that people get in it. But it's also it's funny to see the things that people get hung up on. I had someone call me out for mispronouncing a word, and I had someone call me out for a specific word I used in a script. Mind you, that's one of 1,500 words in this video dialogue. And it's just wow, everyone latches onto something different, positive or good. But I say just, if they want to hate on something, they're allowed to. But I don't, that could be them as a person. That could be maybe they have stuff going on in their life. But there's always going to be haters, and they're always going to have their own reasons for doing it. So I can't get swept up in the negativity. It's not worth the time.
Yeah, and I feel like you do. It's funny because when I used to think, oh man, negative comments are the worst. But now it's when I get a negative comment on anything I make, it's more I want to understand your mentality, and I want to know why you didn't like it. So oftentimes, if somebody says this video is the biggest waste of time ever or something, I'll respond and be well, what were you looking for in the video? Then they usually don't respond because they're not the kind of people that wanted to give you constructive criticism. But then every once in a while, there'll be sort of a sour grape that'll turn sweet when they see that you've actually responded to them. You'll say this is completely wrong, or okay, I'll give you an example. So I uploaded a video recently, a few weeks ago, called "The First 5 Things to Do After You Upgrade to Windows 10," and it now has 250,000 views. And never had a video have that many views before. And so, but just think about the tech community and how antsy they get and how into groups they get. And half the comments are step 6, downgrade to Windows 7. And then some people are like, this is the best video ever. I've subscribed. And so just a complete range of different kinds of comments. And consistently, I will respond to ones that say, like, Windows 10 was the worst decision of my life. And I'll respond like, oh, well, what's the matter? They'll be like, oh, well, this doesn't work. I'll be like, oh, well, all I have to do is fix this. I'm like, oh, well, thank you, you know?
Yeah.
So sometimes some negative people are just negative for whatever reason, and they can be turned into a positive person if you just reach out to them, because people want to be heard, I think, is what it comes down to.
I mean, like, it's like if they're super just like, if you can tell they're just gonna troll you, then it's like, okay, you ignore them. I try to respond to every single comment I get, and I think at some point that's not going to be feasible, because I think as you continue to grow, and that's why I think these people become, and they can say more edgy things, or they get more upset or things like that, because you think of all the bigger channels, they don't ever get responses. They're never heard, so they can just throw whatever they want out there, and like when they do get a response, they're like, oh my gosh, and like sometimes they don't even know what to say. So yeah, it can even make their day. It could, turn that frown upside down. But no, I think it's awesome just to respond to everything, even if someone wants to just call you names.
Yeah, no, and I've noticed that in particular about your channel, like you do faithfully respond. And I was thinking the same thing, like, well, he's doing that now. I'm sure he's going to want to continue to do it when it becomes impossible. Because I think that's going to happen. I think you're going to have a really big channel because you have the right style. Because I think this generation, as far as gamers go, they're just suckers for nostalgia. Like the what's it called? I can't believe I'm blanking. Ukulele funding proves that.
Oh yeah,
$3 million in what, a few months or whatever it was.
And then the Castlevania game that came out after it blew that one away.
Oh, we did?
Got like $6 million or something. Yeah,
it did.
That's where a side scroller that like that's. I mean, but you think about that, like ukulele is like nostalgic, but like Castlevania is like nostalgic, like,
old school,
like squared. It's like really. So you have like it touches like a huge, like a much bigger timeline than ukulele did.
Yeah.
I was super surprised. But they did a Kickstarter campaign really, like the first of I analyzed their Kickstarter campaign really a lot because I love crowdfunding as well. The way they did it, and whoever came up with their strategy is genius, because a lot of the tiers were unlocked not by monetary amounts. They were unlocked by submissions of fan art and sharing and subscribing on Facebook or YouTube, Facebook, following on Twitter, all these different things that forced the community to come together and work collectively. So like if they got 40 fan art submissions of the main character, they would throw another character in the game. And like that got people like, oh, I actually, even if I can't pledge money, I can have a huge impact on how this game turns out. And I think that's why they did so well.
Wow.
And I also think that, if you pay attention, I'm sure anywhere you go online, you find about Five Nights at Freddy's, the game series. Same thing with that. Why do people like it so well? I think it has a lot to do with, it doesn't give you much at all. Like in terms of a story, it's all left up to the user, the person playing the game, to figure out what's going on and things like that, and piece it together. But the community blows up over that because like now it's the same thing that happened in the 90s. And I've been thinking about this too, because I did a video about like Nintendo 64 and how like when there was rumors in games, you couldn't just look it up online to figure out, if it was true or not. You just tried it, and everyone was trying it. And even though we didn't know that people were trying it, we still tried to do it and try to, be the first to discover some kind of, secret level on a game.
Even if that was in your own neighborhood or something.
Yeah. But the same thing goes for this. Like, if you could be the first person to solve like the Five Nights at Freddy's, series, or get the true ending in like the third game or something like that, you were like a legend. But people love that. They love coming together and solving this mystery. And I think a lot of people, the game gets a lot of hate, but at the same time, it was really the same thing. It's the guy just did what he knew. He was someone who got criticized for making. When he did other games, like people are like, your characters look like they're animatronics, they look like they're robots. And it's like, and he got upset. So it's like, turn that to a strength. Make a video about animatronic animals that every kid was thinking about when they went to Chuck E. Cheese in the 90s. About like, those things are kind of cool, but like when it got closer to night, like that's kind of scary. But yeah, he just did what he knew. But it's interesting.
It is very interesting. And it's just, again, so exciting to see where everything's going to go because, okay, I'm going to be honest. I feel like, okay, I'm going to say this right now. My favorite era of games was 1995 to 2005. That was just like my favorite era of games ever because it encompasses like early GameCube, late N64, really, really late SNES, and I love that era. Yeah, exactly. Melee. Massive fan of Melee. And then recently, it's like I'm not that enthused. Like the Wii era didn't really do a lot of sequels. Like they didn't. You didn't get a lot of. You didn't get Pikmin. Like everyone was wanted the Pikmin. Like anyway, and it's funny. This show is about social media and stuff. But another huge, massive passion of mine is like gaming and like Nintendo stuff. And so I'm gonna let us talk about that a little bit more on this show because this is kind of what it's dedicated for. But I want to ask you, where do you see your channel? Because you have a few videos up right now about if Link was in Mario's game and if Mario was in Link's game for N64, and then you have a few other ones. You have one on your friend's van that has that N64 game, which is sick.
Right.
Where do you see your channel going in the future, and what kind of audience do you want to cultivate out of it?
I think the goal for anyone is to find a bunch of me's. Like I want to, get an army of people that are like me, and just like so we can do cool stuff together. So we can I just want to nerd out with people. I want to talk to them about some obscure level Nintendo 64 game or a Super Nintendo game, and actually have them be like, oh my gosh, yes, finally I found you. Let's talk about this. I see it growing like in terms of I want to cover all aspects of it. Like right now, I've been focused on the Nintendo 64 stuff because I don't know, just like I got into it and I was like, I really miss this stuff, and I just kept making videos on it. Like I want to grow that out further. Like games aren't the only thing I want to do. I also want to pull in other types of media like comic books and stories and TV shows. Maybe not like. I'm not really a fan of like the dramas or things like that. I actually don't have TV. I haven't watched the TV in a super long time. But like I'm all about the storytelling, and like games are such a good outlet for storytelling. That's just like I want to basically what I'm doing is trying to set off a big flare that people will see. Is like, hey, come to this point. Let's all talk about this cool stuff, and I'm gonna make some cool videos about these topics. And like. I also, and this is something that irritates me too, like on with videos online, you see all these big channels producing these game content. So it's like, you have the game theorists and you have all these different things that produce different types of videos on games. They don't credit anyone. They don't, they put a video out there and it's like, but they don't, they don't give anyone like credit for what they did. And that's the thing that irritates me, because if you're an artist online and you see these YouTubers that take all your your drawings of characters and they use it as like, they Ken Burns it, which is like, have you ever watched a documentary where they have a photo and it zooms in slowly?
What's that called again?
The Ken Burns effect.
The Ken Burns effect. Okay.
Yeah. They don't give any credit to the people that make this stuff. And it always irritated me because like own up to it. Like I want to make a video about something I saw online that someone did a comic on, and I saw they did a comic that was about Legend of Zelda, and I'm like, that's an amazing idea for a video. And the first thing I want to do in that video is say, hey, I saw this comic online. Please check it out. Check out this guy's DeviantArt channel because all his work's amazing. But this really got me thinking about this idea. He was the tip of the iceberg. Let's really dive into this. And a lot of things I do in my video is like I present my thoughts, but I'm not the voice of God. Like I'm just some guy who likes games. Like it's more important to me that people continue the conversation with one another, whether that be through arguing or actually like constructive criticism about like, the topic at hand. Like it's all about starting a discussion, because that to me is my reward. Like I'm doing these videos for fun. Like I love just seeing people's reactions to them and things like that. So like that's, I deviated.
Yeah, that's fine.
But that's kind of like where I see my channel going, right. But also some of the things that frustrate me and the things I want to work on to kind of be. I don't want to say like I'm going to be a trendsetter because I don't know what I'm going to be, but I want to fix that problem, because why would you be an artist online if people are just going to steal your stuff and then put it in their videos? And the same thing goes is, like, YouTubers have issues with freebooting, which freebooting is like you make a video, you put it on YouTube, someone downloads your video and puts it on Facebook. Now Facebook's making your ad money. You send a submit claim to them, and they don't pull it down right away, because as long as that video is up, they're still making ad money. And the page that uploaded it, they get like basically a slap on the wrist saying like, hey, don't do that again. By that time, they already have millions of views, because the way Facebook shares content is way more diverse than posting YouTube content on Facebook. But it's just like we fight the same battles. We fight the same battles of like this whole freebooting thing. But it's funny because like some of the people that bicker about freebooting, which I'm super passionate about it. And if you don't know what freebooting is, you should definitely check it out, because it's a huge issue. But some of these people who are super mad about freebooting are like, they're kind of hypocrites in a sense. Like, I remember, like, I'm a big fan of a guy named Matthew Santoro. He does a lot of top 10 videos, or like 50 spooky facts or something like that. And actually, like, for a while there, I was going to do some animations for him for his channel. He was looking for an animator, and we sent a couple messages back and forth. But recently he got pulled into like an iPhone scandal online, where like people are using him holding an iPhone to like sell his merchandise that he didn't approve of, which is totally wrong. And I agree that those people using that imagery should be held accountable. But at the same time, like I'm scratching my chin. I'm like, he does this all the time. He takes images from people that he takes stories and all these different things that he didn't come up with, and he's using them. So it's like it's kind of funny that these people are crying wolf. Well, it is a big problem, but they are, like, a lot of the big ones are crying wolf about it.
Wow. And this is the whole mess about remixing something. Like if you take some audio and then you like throw some beats in it, now it's fair use all of a sudden.
Oh yeah. And I totally agree with Dusty Jackman in the chat. Freebooting is literally cancer. I totally agree with that. It is horrible.
Literally. It's literally cancer. And now, according to the dictionary, literally can also mean figuratively. So he's not using that improperly. Okay, so that's great. Now, I want to get some more technical stuff down here. So what audio and video equipment do you use when you make videos, usually?
So for voiceovers, I use this handy Yeti boy. This it's the Blue Yeti, it's a Blue microphone by Yeti. Really good voiceover mic. Runs about $150. They have a pro version out now. You can get to. It's a little bit more expensive. I use in the past, I always use a lot of different microphones, like the Zoom H4n, the Zoom H2. Those are all videographer tools that I did. But like when I did a lot of animating, because what I would do is I would record voiceovers of different people, and then I would do 2-minute, 3-minute strictly animation about that video, selling a certain like software solution, or like branding video for like I think it is credit union or things like that. I use a lot of those. So right now though, I use the Blue Yeti because I was like, I want to try something different. I want to learn a different thing, and this thing's awesome. It blows me away. Now, it's not like I can take it with me and go record out in the middle of the forest because it doesn't run off batteries. The quality of it is really, really good. That's what
I'm using. That's what I've been using for this podcast too. It's amazing.
Yeah. And it's awesome because it's at a consumer level. You're not dishing out like your firstborn child for like a mic. But besides that, I use a MacBook, the Retina Mac. I actually have two Macs, so I have this one right here, and I have one right here. So this is like my backup editing machine. It's a 2010. That one, I actually like the old displays better because the Retina displays are awesome and big, but they used to have the anti glare, which is like perfect because I could go like edit in the middle of a desert and like the sun wouldn't be a problem. So I'm a big fan of the Apple stuff. A lot of people say they're overpriced, which I agree. But like I never had any problem. I don't have any problems with them. I'm a big fan of PC stuff too. But I do get mixed responses from people in terms of like the Adobe suite. Like they've run into like random problems on like PCs and things like that, which is weird. I don't understand why. Obviously, you can build a PC much cheaper and get the same quality pretty much. But I've always just been, I don't know. I think what happened was I was forced to use Macs in college because like on the college campus before I actually had a machine, they're like, oh, we have Macs. I'm like, okay, I haven't used this since the early 90s. Does it have like the firefighting game on the Apple II? But so I use, segue into that, I use the Adobe suite. Like I used to use Final Cut and Apple Motion. I would never go back. I mean,
Really?
honestly, they totally shot themselves in the foot with Final Cut.
That's what I heard.
It's like completely different, and it's a train wreck. Adobe is just so awesome. You can drag and drop anything from any application into another. You can, you do something in Photoshop, you drag it into After Effects, it retains all your layer sizes.
Oh, wow.
You animate that layer, you drag that into Premiere. You add that to your video. You drag that into what used to be Encore. And you render it out, and you have a trade show loop. Put on a repeating DVD. Like it's all these different. Like it's so streamlined and so user friendly. And the fact that everything integrates with each other. Honestly, like there's no point in trying anything else. And I know that sounds kind of, I don't know, an ultimatum, but like honestly, they really thought it out. Especially with people are like, I want to. I do the Adobe Cloud. And people have issues with that too, because they're like, I want to own the software versus instead of renting it, which is fine. But I've had nothing but positives with the Adobe Cloud, especially the subscription platform for someone that does video, web design, animation, photography, like all these things that I do. There's really no other choice out there. And I mean that in a good way, not like I feel like I'm suckered into getting Adobe. Like you'd be kind of silly to try anything else because it just works so well and it's so intuitive.
Yeah, I have to say I use Photoshop a lot, but a big barrier for me has been the learning curve. It just seems like massively hard to learn. Like as far as no, not Audition. Audition, and then come on, the video editing one. Premiere, thank you. Yeah. But so I use something called Cyberlink Power Director. I have no idea if you've heard of it or not. But it's super obscure, but it's also really cheap and really user friendly. So that's what I use. And I don't ever plan on being a big video maker guy, but I have referred people to Adobe because I used to use iMovie when I did a video production class when I was like in high school or something. It was like all right, I guess. But anyway, we could talk for a long time about that. But I want to get to these few questions before we get to the end of our show, which we have like 15 minutes left. Okay. So I want to ask you, what are your top 5 favorite games of all time? Which is a hard question.
Yeah, it's a hard question.
If 5 years from now you look back on this recording, you're like, why did I pick those 5?
Well, that's why that's the most difficult question because it has an answer that evolves over time. Like, I would say probably Super Mario 64, Ocarina of Time. From those are both Nintendo 64 games. Throw a curveball here. RuneScape was a early MMO back in 2003. It had like N64 graphics too, so it was right up my alley. I've probably sunk so much time into that game, but I loved the humor of it and things like that. Let's see what else. Definitely Melee. I mean, Melee was. I can't even describe how much time we put into Melee. Having 2 brothers, that's all we did was fight each other over and over and over again.
That's amazing.
Let's see, I got one more. That's tough. I don't know. Maybe Phantasy Star Online. It was another kind of online game that came out in the GameCube era and also the Dreamcast. It just all of them like a lot of these are tied with first experiences for me as well. People say that's cheating as well because like I have these feelings tied to them specifically because they were my first instance of that type of game. But I mean,
that's okay.
Yeah. I don't see anything wrong with it.
Your favorite's your favorite, no matter what reason.
Exactly.
That's awesome. I want to go over my favorite 5 because they're actually very remarkably similar to yours. Super Smash Bros. Melee is probably my favorite game. It's really hard to say. It goes between that and like Zelda Ocarina of Time. And Majora's Mask and Ocarina of Time often fight for the seat, in my opinion. Yeah. So tough to choose. Those two stand out big time. Melee, Ocarina of Time, and then surprisingly Sonic Generations. I
was gonna say. I mean, I was thinking because I was thinking Phantasy Star, but like Sonic Adventure 2 Battle for the GameCube, also Sonic Adventure 2 for I think it was Dreamcast.
Yeah,
I was never into Sonic at all, but like that really, I was addicted to that game. It was so fun.
I don't know what about it because it's not.
I don't know either.
It's not a remarkably good game, but everyone loved it that played it. It's just so interesting. Anyway, Sonic Generations, because I love the 3D Sonic games way more than most people. Like it gets so much hate, but it also has the 2D aspect too. It has both best of both worlds. The only con about Sonic Generations is how short it is. I wish it was longer, and I wish there were more levels. Anyway, so those 3 games, and then for the last 2, I have to say Harvest Moon 64 is probably another one of my favorites.
All right. I don't know, like I think like Harvest Moon, Animal Crossings was also another thing. Like Harvest Moon and Animal Crossings, they go hand in hand with me because like I felt like as I played them, I was just trying to figure out life. I was like, I'm here, I'm like a farmer in the middle of I don't know where. I rake, I cut down stuff with a sickle. I feed my cows. I'm like, what am I doing? It's like also humbling too. It's like, okay, well, I don't have to do anything. Like just chill, and then I'm gonna go to bed and come up in the morning and do the same thing. I don't know. Like I did play. I think actually it was a Nintendo 64 version of that, and
nice.
It was fun. I think I got burned out of it though because like I didn't know what I was working towards. That just might have been me in general.
Mm-hmm. It was funny because I was learning stuff like. Oh man, what girl am I gonna court? Like, who should I be friends with? Like the whole little social part, because all the different dialogue in that game. And then another funny thing was some of the things didn't get translated very well, so there was a bunch of glitches too that was fun to look for. But it's just I just love that game. I don't know what it was. And then another one that's gonna be kind of random is Star Wars Battlefront 2. I just love the crap out of Star Wars Battlefront 2, which wasn't like any of my other games that I liked, but for some reason. Battlefront 2 was just my favorite.
I was a big fan of Jedi Outcast.
I haven't played that one.
If Kyle Katarn, the random guy they made up for the game, the battle mode was just so much fun. That and the sequel to it, Jedi Academy, was another. Just like this is something fun about like you because you can be someone just runs around with guns, or you can be a Jedi. But even with someone that has guns, you can still stand a chance against a Jedi because you can still have the Force. Like you can choke lift someone up and then shoot them with a shotgun or something.
That's cool.
It was cool, but at the same time, like you're fighting a Jedi, they're running towards you, and they're like just pushing your bullets aside with like because you can trick out your Force abilities, and one was like pushing.
Wow!
So, just like blows everything back at whoever's attacking you. It's really cool.
Man, I have to say that. What's it called again?
Jedi Outcast.
Jedi Outcast. Okay. And I have to ask you, what's some of your favorite video game music? Because I'm very opinionated about this too.
Oh, okay. Hold on. I have to go back. I'm gonna take off Phantasy Star off my top 5 list.
Okay.
I have to put Super Mario RPG for Super Nintendo. That was definitely because the gaming music made me think of that. I like more of the for gaming music. Again, all the simple stuff like I think back in the day they had less to tell stories with, but they used more powerful mediums to tell their stories. Like now people are like the graphics they suck, so the story sucks. And I mean you get some weird responses from people about and like to some degree I don't know like I don't feel as attached to games that come out like. This day and age, I don't know if it's just I kind of want to be, but I just can't. But I definitely latch on to the game music of the past, and I don't know if I enjoy it. Again, is it because it's a fond childhood memory of mine, like listening to these songs? I know the exact moment when I heard this song the first time, what I was doing, or I mean, like Melee, like Final Destination, or not Final Destination. Is it Final? Yeah, it's Final Destination. The alternate menu 2 track.
Oh man!
I mean, like that song to me makes me think of like just pummeling like Yoshi, because my younger brother was a Yoshi main, and I would use like Gandorf or Luigi, and just like we fighting. A lot of it, but a lot of the earlier stuff, like Super Mario RPG, has a lot of interesting tracks to it.
Mm-hmm.
I always like the. Have you ever played the game?
Yes.
Okay, so do you remember you fight Bunt, the huge cake at the wedding?
Mm-hmm.
Like I remember that scene well, just because the music was so interesting. Like
Mm-hmm.
the Marrymore, like Princess Peach was being forced to marry someone.
Yep.
And it's like this is kind of weird. I'm like
edgy
6 years, I'm like 6 years old,
mm-hmm.
like trying to figure out like I was like, wow, what's really going on here?
Mm-hmm.
But like I just remember like how well the song in the area.
Okay.
It's like a wedding, and I was like,
Mm-hmm.
to me, wedding music. That's what that sounds like.
I have to say really quickly and interject. I think that's what it is about N64 era games, is because physically they had more space to fill with more songs, and they had 3D. So there's a rawness about that era of games that will never be replicated. Things now are too polished. Everything makes too much sense. It's too perfect, because like what you said, it had to do with a bunch of other things, including the mystique of there not being the internet. But there was unfinished stuff in N64 games. There was just new territory that had never been tried before. And so I think that's why we're never going to experience that again, is because it was just and of course we have like virtual worlds and holograms. That's definitely the next thing. But there's something about the accessibility of gaming with a controller and a screen, where it went from 2D to 3D, and then that rawness, I don't think can ever be replicated again. So I think that's why it was so good. And now it's like there's a reason for everything in the game. It's kind of boring from that standpoint. There was an excitement about the N64 era, and that's just my opinion.
Yeah, I had to say, again, Dusty Jackman, Metal Gear, like nothing gets me hyped, but like some of those Metal Gear themes, just thinking about how I'm crawling around as a snake and like doing just. Snake's an awesome character too. Like, like so awesome. Like every time I think of him, all I think of is like, kept you waiting, huh? Like smoking a cigarette or something. I always love the humor in those games. It's very tastefully done, but the music was definitely epic and something.
I need to play more of them, because I barely touched them. But I think some of my favorite music, Donkey Kong 64 for some reason.
Oh yeah, Fungi Forest.
Well,
oh my gosh,
almost every track in that game for me. It was so good. And then of course I love like Banjo-Kazooie music. I love Smash Bros. Melee soundtrack. Smash Bros. Brawl and Smash 4 have a larger soundtrack with really impressive tracks. But Melee's, like, they had a theme for Final Destination. They had a main theme. They had a main menu theme. And they were like all classics, all of them. And they were all super good. And then the Kirby games, Kirby 64, Kirby Air Ride had amazing, cool soundtracks. Yeah,
64 Rockstar has a really interesting. I love that stage. There's also the volcano has a really good music, but like the
Frozen one, I love the Frozen one.
Yeah.
So we're really like close on time now, so I'm going to shoot through the last part. Now it's time for Ask David V. I ask questions and you answer them. The question of the episode is going to be, what is your favorite beverage? Because you're here, Brad, what's your favorite beverage?
The blood of my enemies.
Wow.
I'm a gamer. I had to say something like that.
All right, that's fair. I'll go with that. My favorite beverage would have to be it's really hard. Okay, this is going to sound terrible, but I love grape milkshakes.
Grape?
As artificial and as awful for you as it sounds.
More power to you, man.
I had a grape milkshake at the sushi place, and I already love like artificial grape and shakes, so the two together. Favorite drink, bar none. The social network of the day is Backloggery. And I don't know if you've heard of it, Brad, but if you haven't, you should make an account on backloggery.com.
It sounds like an archive.org kind of thing, or
sort of, yeah. So basically, you like track every game you've owned, and you track whether you've beaten it or not, and then how far into it. You can like customize your profile. It's super addicting and awesome. So I totally recommend that if you're a gamer. And you have and they include games like if you've lost it or you sold it, you can still track it, and so it's really cool. And so I recommend it. It's only available on the web, backloggery.com. There's no application, like no mobile app for it, but check it out. Now let's take a trip to the app graveyard. These are the applications and services that are no longer with us. And today's dearly departed application is OLife. OLife was a daily journal web-based app that would email you every once in a while, however often you wanted. And you'd reply and you just journal your day. And it was a really cool service because when you'd reply, you would like save it in this beautiful journal form. And then it got shut down because, it wasn't sustainable. They didn't do advertising. And anyway, it was a shame that it went away. But
it sounds like a really good idea because, like, I think most people during their day, they get so swept up that they forget the little things. And like that is a reminder of like in your face, like, oh, hey, take a moment and just say something into the phone. I mean, back then, I don't know when that came out. Did they have text to speech? I don't know.
Barely. But yeah, it was really good. It was exactly like that. So lastly, it's time for immature impersonations. Maybe they're good, maybe they're bad, but they're certainly immature. And today's impersonation is going to be Conquer the Squirrel from Conker's Bad Fur Day. I haven't tried this at all, but I thought it'd be really fun to try. So here goes nothing, okay? Oh boy. Oh no. This isn't right at all. Hang on a second. I think this is the part where I introduce myself. Hello world, I'm Conker the Squirrel. Just your ordinary anthropomorphic protagonist. Don't know if I'm cut out for this podcasting stuff. Not today, anyway.
I always get, when I think of the voices, I always get confused because I think of that squirrel from Banjo-Kazooie, the Nabnuts.
Oh, yeah.
I was like, wait a second. That's okay. Hold on. I know you got a second left, but that is an interesting video idea because I think about this too. It's like you have all these backstories of these characters that are in Diddy Kong Racing, right? Mm-hmm. You have Banjo's in it. He has his own game. You have Conker. You have who else? I think there's one other one.
Bubba.
Huh?
There's Bubba, that weird one that I didn't ever know what he was.
Yeah, but I mean, like, what's the backstory of all those other animals? I want to know, like, how do they all know Diddy?
Maybe it's up to you to create their games.
I might have to dive into that one. I've been thinking about that, but like the Conker thing reminded me of it.
I'm Conker. That's what he sounds like in Diddy Kong Racing.
I know. And then it's like, and then he hit puberty.
Something happened to him.
And he started drinking.
Yeah. All right, well, that's just about all the time we have for this episode of the Beyond Tweeting podcast. Thank you, listeners, for listening, obviously, because that's what you're doing. Watching, sharing, downloading, and subscribing. For all things Beyond Tweeting, you can go to beyondtweeting.com and simply search Beyond Tweeting in your favorite podcasting application to find this app or find my podcast and subscribe. And if a show's going on live, which it is this second, you can go to beyondtweeting.com/live and see wherever it's at. And as always, we end each episode with an anticlimactic line. Brad, what's the first thing that comes to your mind?
Anticlimactic? I don't know. I was not.
That's not how this works, Brad.
Yeah, I know. Well, I mean, that was anticlimactic. Like I was about to say.
I don't know. That's what I'm using. I don't know.
I don't know.
But believe it or not, you're the first person to ever do that.